The left is losing it, obviously, over this U.S. aid thing. They're losing it over this 5,000 FBI agents thing. They're losing it over a lot. They're even losing it, this is the funniest one of all to me, over tariffs. First of all, many members of the media, especially on the left, have no clue how tariffs are, what they are, how they work. They're just kind of ignorant, shall we say, in this particular zone. They don't know the difference, I would suspect, between, say, tariffs and sanctions. Right? So tariffs are when you effectively charge a little extra for those goods that are going to be coming in from a foreign country. Whereas when you sanction a country, you can't have any other goods coming in. So China just announced that they would put forward a retaliatory tariff on some of our companies. Google, Nvidia, Intel are being hit by this to the tune of 10%. I'm going to explain to you, you know what, we can handle it. It's not a big deal. China, the stuff that we export to China makes up 0.58% of our overall GDP, our overall economy, versus, say, our stuff making up 3%, a full-on 3% of their economy. And so therefore it really doesn't matter. But it's kind of funny when you see the Morning Joe people talk about it, because, you know, he's Mika saying 25% tariffs. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of them. I actually said the word tariff, she's thinking to herself, and I know how much they are. And Joe's trying to tell you, oh, this is going to be bad. And then you have a whole litany of other people saying, get ready for the avocado tax. Oh, and tequila too while we're at it. I'll tell you, you guys don't need the tequila. Okay, lay off the tequila if you would.
These tariffs, listen, you don't have to be smart in economics to know. This pushes the EU.
25% tariffs.
This pushes the EU. This pushes Canada. This pushes Mexico into the arms of China.
The unintended consequences of it, we don't know yet, and they will likely be far larger than any of us can calculate.
Say goodbye to your avocado toast and your tequila. We are going to see real pain. And again, it's not actually going to address the fentanyl crisis.
These are our friends, and we are treating them like trash. We are bullying them. Now he's going to tax our tequila and avocados?
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe we're going to just have to lay off the tequila and the avocados for just a little while, okay? Ana Navarro over on The View. Listen, I'm just going to be the realist here. So on the avocado front, oh, they're worried about escalating avocado prices. Well, here's the deal. First of all, Mexico flipped out. You know why Mexico flipped out? Because a 25% tariff on Mexico would be a big problem. You see, we account for somewhere between 18 to 20% of Mexico's GDP. Guess how much Mexico accounts for us? 1%. So you see where I'm going. They don't matter to us. We matter to them. And what's going to happen with the avocados? You're just not going to sell them? They're just going to rot and you're going to throw them away? I don't think so. I think if Americans say, well, I'm not going to buy an avocado if it's $8 an avocado, then guess what? They're going to have to lower the price and they're going to have to lower their margins, and they take a hit as an economy. So yeah, it's worse for Mexico than it is for us. Same deal on Canada. I looked at these numbers. $320 billion is what we export to Canada, roughly 1% of our economy. In comparison, Canada sends a lot of stuff here. It's like 15% of their economy. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, what happens? Canada, Mexico immediately go into recession. US, we're not doing great. We don't love it, but we're not faring anywhere near as bad as Mexico or Canada would. So all Donald Trump wanted was Justin Trudeau to get off his you-know-what and say, hey, I'm actually going to try and enforce this border. I'm telling you, there was some story I was working on. This was a while ago. I mean, we're going all the way back when I was at CNBC. And I was doing this investigation. I wound up not actually covering this story. In fact, it was quite dangerous at the time, and I just had little kids, so that may have had some effect on me. But I was very interested in the porous Canadian-US border, because there were all kinds of drugs coming directly from China right through the border in Canada. And Canada wasn't doing a thing about it way back when. Then. I mean, they weren't bothering, because what did they care? They was just coming into the U.S. So they've always had this issue. And Donald Trump's like, enough. You know what? We got the goods. You need us more than we need you. Therefore, we're going to do something about it. As for China, same kind of deal. The numbers are not as drastic, but again, 0.58% of our economy is exports to China. In comparison, 3% of their economy is their exports to us. I was actually surprised. I would have thought that number would have been a little bit higher, but I guess they've been expanding and they've been trying to grow their domestic economy. Even all that said, we don't need so much from China. I was, what's Walmart going to do? All these widgets from China that we can't. You know what? You don't need all the junk that comes from China. You really don't. I think, once again, the U.S. can weather that storm. And Donald Trump gets this far more than the lefty media does.
We've disagreed before, and I'm sure they didn't have any idea what they were talking about, because already you see what's happening. Look at Colombia. Look at what happened with that. Everybody said that with Colombia it was going to be a disaster. In one hour, everything was settled. You know why? Tariffs. Without tariffs, they wouldn't have been the same way. They would not have treated me the way they treated me, which was extremely nicely. And I don't want to use countries, I don't want to use names, but tariffs are very powerful, both economically and in getting everything else you want. Tariffs for us, nobody can compete with us because we're the pot of gold. But if we don't keep winning and keep doing well, we won't be the pot of gold, and then tariffs won't be so good for us. But when you're the pot of gold, the tariffs are very good. They're very powerful, and they're going to make our country very rich again. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, guys.
You see, no one has ever done anything quite like this before. He's coming in with a fresh set of eyes, like a businessman, saying, "Hey, you got to be kidding me. Justin, you can't spend a little more money." Justin just agreed to do $1.3 billion to try and shore up the border situation there with Canada. How is this our responsibility? You can bear some responsibility in this as well. I mean, not to mention, you're tariffing everything that we're sending into you, and the same in China and all over the world. I mean, he's fighting with the EU now too, saying, hey, whoa. How is it that you're tariffing everything that we send in, and yet we're not tariffing your stuff? Does that make any sense at all? The short answer is no. It goes back to the Marshall Plan and has its roots in that we were really trying to help rebuild all those economies. So we said, hey, don't worry about it. You can send your stuff here. We won't tariff it. You can tariff our stuff, fine. But you know what? The Marshall Plan was a whole lot of years ago. Those times have come and gone. So why are we still stuck with all these tariffs? That's going to change.